Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers. And if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. And this is my No Plans November stitching update for Sunday, the 10th of November. I have been so much enjoying the No Plans November because it has meant that I've been able to stitch on what I want when I want. It is my Sweewee month and it is awesome because I have maybe just a small handful of projects to share with you, the progress that I've made on them. And by doing this Sweewee month, it has meant that I can put as much time as I want into the projects and not feel pressure placed on myself by feeling like I have to get a certain percentage of the project done by a particular time frame or anything like that. It is a break that I need before leading into December and having fun with the 2025 stitching, because this month is enabling me to just think and mull over thoughts and ideas of what I want to try and achieve for the year 2025 and figure out how I want to break that down. So when the 1st of January comes around, and it's going to come around very quickly, when it does come around, I won't feel overwhelmed and then not do any of what I want to do, or do very little of what I had initially intended rather to do, because I just felt too overwhelmed by it. So I have some strategies in place of what I would like to do, and what I'm excited about as well is hopefully tomorrow, sometime in the mail, I will have some planners and new pens and some fun stuff arrive in the mail that I had purchased online, and that I'm hoping will help me with a visual way of planning out what I want to do. The idea is that with this particular creative journal planner that I've purchased, it will help me to write down all of my existing whips, ranging from ones that are in active rotation through to ones that I've actually partly forgotten about or fallen out of love with, and then also list up all of the charts and kits and similar projects that I have in my stash that I want to work on, and figure out when I can hopefully start them. And then with this planner as well, actually note down the days that I worked on them, and if timing allows and such, I can also note down how many stitches I did. So when we do catch up and I can share with you the projects that I've been working on, the idea is that I'll be able to say that I spent 5 days on project A and I was able to get 300 stitches done on project A, or something to that effect. And what I've loved is the different styles of recording these sorts of things through the different YouTube channels that I've been watching, where many people who have shared with us the different journals and planners and such that they've used throughout the year, and the different stickers that they've put in places and anything in between. I've loved that, and that has helped me to determine whether or not it's something that could work for me. And next year, the idea is to give it a go and see if it actually works for me or not. The other aim I have for next year is, I don't know, this is still fairly early, but we'll have to wait and see. The underlying current or underlying theme for next year is to stitch from stash. I've heard a lot of people doing that in previous years or even this year. And I've been quite relaxed about just buying things when I want it, when I feel like it, that kind of thing. And I'm wanting to try and be a bit more disciplined next year because I do have a lot in my stash already, ranging from threads to fabric to charts, patterns, kits, and so forth. So the idea with next year is any purchases that I go to make will be intentional projects or intentional purchases rather, because they fit within the scope of what I'm wanting to achieve during 2025. With that in mind, one of the things that I also just want to quickly share with you before I jump into the stitching and projects that I've been working on for the last 10 days or so is this really exciting event that is going to be happening next year over the Australia Day long weekend in January, and Great Australian Cross-Stitch Shindig. This is an event that I am looking forward to next year. It is happening on Sunday the 26th and Monday the 27th of January next year, which is part of the Australia Day long weekend. And this event is something unique because it hasn't happened with the Australian theme before. The aim of this particular event is to celebrate Australian people, or specifically celebrate Australian designers, Australian vendors, Australian YouTubers, Flosstubers. It is open to everyone worldwide because we're wanting to get as many people to come and participate as much as possible. This is the brainchild of Lisa Lane from Paddock Lane Designs, and I strongly recommend that you subscribe to her YouTube channel because she is the organizer of, or Paddock Lane Designs more broadly will definitely be the organisers for this particular event. And what I do know so far, especially with the imaging that you'll see on the screen, the aim of this event is to have designers who are Aussie designers, and we'll be having online meets and greets with Stitch exclusive designs. There are going to be vendors who are Australian based as well, with sharing with us their wares and tears and creative things that are unique to us. And then there's the Aussie Flosstubers as well, where the aim of this entire event is to promote the awesomeness that is us Australian peoples, and to open up to the world as well, to say, hey, here we are, please come and check us out, please come and buy our wares and check out our designs and purchase them if you so choose, if they are things that truly tickle your fancy. And this is pretty much all that I can say right now, because I know as much as about a lot of other people who may have seen the different types of advertising and such through YouTube, through Instagram and Facebook, and maybe some of the other social media platforms. But with all of that in mind, I do strongly recommend that if you haven't already subscribed to Paddock Lane Designs YouTube channel, please go and subscribe, because you'll be able to find out a lot more information as time goes on. And I'm really looking forward to the event and seeing everyone there. It is going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be really cool. With all of this in mind, let's flow into the stitching and what I have been doing over the last 10 days or so. The first project that I have to share with you is a custom crafts chart designed by Diana Lair, based on artwork by Lucy Billadieu, slash McCall graphics. This one has been a work in progress off and on for way too long. I know that whenever I do pick up this particular piece that I keep saying I really want to get it done by the end of this year, by a particular time frame, it just doesn't happen. So the last however long it's been, I've spent a couple of days at least on this piece, and this is where I'm at so far. I've been focusing mostly down the bottom here, and I have just probably a small handful of areas on this particular area that is confetti stitching, and I'd like to get the confetti stitching done before I focus on the remaining symbols for the page, because they are going to just fly by, because it is solid stitching in the sense of block stitching to an extent, but it'll still have the waves and movement in it because of the nature of the mane of the horse. And ideally, I would love to think that I can get a page finished by the end of November, but we'll wait and see, because the aim of November is for it to be sweet, for me to be able to stitch on what I want, when I want, and for however I want as well. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you is a hot cross stitching design. It is one that has been a work in progress for some time, and it is the Blue Mountains walking trail. And it's based on a photo that I took quite a few years ago now, when Michael and I had taken a holiday or a long weekend up to the Blue Mountains to celebrate his birthday. And I am getting myself upside down here. This is where I'm at so far. I am stitching this on 25 count gridded even weave. This is where I'm at so far, and I'm impressed with how this is starting to come together, because I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I don't think I will ever stop learning, which I think is a fantastic headspace to be in. When I first picked up this piece during November, I had started off with the intention of trying to focus on the colours that had the most amount of stitches connected to it, which in this particular case had initially been the DMC 310. And I paused where you can see with the 310 because I wanted to start filling in some of the gaps leading up to the 310 where I had paused, because I didn't want to, I'll rephrase. Historically, I have found that if I get too far ahead of myself with one colour when I'm doing cross-country stitching, that when I start stitching other colours and catching up to where I had paused with the first colour, inevitably I will have miscounted somewhere, and I've then got to be creative and fudge it where I can, or do a little bit of frogging, whatever means I need to correct the mistake that I've made. And this is why we see some of the threads hanging down as it is, because I mucked up, but that was well before I did some of the 310 stitching this month. It is what it is. And this is part of why I love full coverage, because it means that I can do a bit of that fudging. I can be creative and incorporate some of the mistakes that I've made and know that it won't completely throw up the pattern. However, with the Blue Mountains walking trail, if I'd completely left the stitching as it was, it would have sadly thrown out the chart, because I had been out by one stitch, but it meant that some of those stitches would actually be, so I'll just get this because it'll help explain a bit better. So if I had left some of the stitches as they were, hopefully this will focus soon, it would have meant that some of the stitches would have been above the red line where you can see my finger moving side to side. It would have been above the edge of the intended project. That would have shifted up the rest of the project by about a row, and that is something that is not a good thing for any piece, regardless of whether it's full coverage or not. That's why I've needed to fix that up completely. With all of that in mind, the next project that I have to share with you is the Black Needle Society's Winter in Stars Hollow. I have decided to start stitching this on some fabric that will be long enough for me to stitch the remaining 3 patterns as well, even though I've already stitched them on individual pieces of fabric. So I'm stitching this on 28 count linen. We're stitching 2/2. I am using 90% of the called for colours, with the exception of the colours that we see for the candy cane. With the candy cane, this is variegated thread in the sense that in one of the stitching boxes from the Black Needle Society for one of the Stars Hollow stitching retreats, it came with this variegated thread of red fading into white, then fading into red again. I was inspired by Lane being a cheerleader for the high school, for Stars Hollow High, and this is where I wanted to incorporate some of that into the candy cane, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to incorporate some of that into Lane's cheerleading uniform as well. The other subtle difference is the purple background that we see just behind the candy cane as well. When I had been ordering some of the specialty threads for this piece, the store I was buying from didn't have the exact color that I needed, but they recommended a similar color. So I thought, yep, let's go with that. And I think it's turning out awesome. I'm happy with how things are turning out. I would love to think that I'll be able to fill in just the odd little bit where we see some gaps and be happy with the progress for November. The next piece that I have to share with you is a hot cross stitching design, and it's called Black and White Rolled Up Daisy. This is what it will look like when it's roughly what it will look like when it's done. I'm stitching this on 18 count Black Ada, stitching 2/1, and this is where I'm at so far. I've been focusing mostly over on the side here where we see a bit of the petal, and I'm now that I've got a bit of the edging around here done, I'm wanting to now fill in a little bit more and start from here down, because that is going to go super quick. It's, from what the chart says, it's predominantly just one colour, and that is going to be awesome to stitch just as a boom, 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 let's get this out kind of stitching. That's going to be a lot of fun. The next piece that I have to share with you is one that I hope to get mostly as much finish as I can by the end of November, and it's going to be called I Can and I Will. This one will be framed when it's finished. This one has been a good piece to work on when I just want to sit and stitch and not concentrate too much on what's going on in terms of counting and making sure that everything is all good. This one is being stitched on 28 count linen. And what I love with this particular piece is that it was inspired by some words that I use in my head when I've been able to run, to try and help with that motivation and try and move past the discomfort I'm feeling at the time. So the idea behind I can and I will is that whilst it is predominantly leaning to the running side of things, I would love to think that that phrasing can be used for any other component of life when you are sort of hitting that brick wall, so to speak, but it's made out of styrofoam bricks, where you're feeling like you're reaching this barrier and you're you're feeling like you may not be able to move past it, but by reminding yourself that you can do this and that you will get past the discomfort that you've got or the challenges or barriers that you're feeling, that you will come to realize that it's a styrofoam soft padded brick wall, rather than that solid brick that you initially thought it was. So that's the idea behind the I can and I will. Also noting that I I miss running. I don't think I've been able to properly run, if at all, for what feels like many months now, and some days it bugs me because as much as I dislike the discomfort that comes with running at the time, I love how I feel afterwards, because it is that feeling of achievement of getting out there, getting something done, and feeling like I've taken care of myself in that, in a way that works for me. So what's been going on with my body is that my right foot, for many years since I was in primary school, I've had a heel spur on the back of my right foot, and for much of a muchness, it hasn't normally bothered me. It's been just in recent years when I haven't taken care of myself and I've not stretched properly before and after a run or any other kind of exercise, that my body is now at the stage of yelling at me saying, you should be stretching, you should be doing something different. Because when my right foot especially gets very tight around the heel spur, it means that I don't walk very well. I am limping, I walk slowly, and the foot hurts. That's the best way I can put it. It hurts, it aches. And it's because the muscles are tight and my right heel swells a little bit. It looks like I've got a bit of bruising near the ankle as well. The positive things that I am doing to try and take care of myself, though, and get back into proper working order, is weekly massages, focusing on the legs and trying to loosen up the muscles a bit. I am trying to make yoga or Pilates a regular part of my routine. I am also conscious of how much I'm sitting down during the day and trying to get up and move or stretch when I can, because the sitting down sadly is 90% of my day, partly because of my paid job. I am an office worker predominantly, and it's not often that I get up and move, not consciously, so I need to do that. With all of that in mind, I do look forward to eventually getting back into running, and when I do, I know that the I can and I will phrasing will come in super handy, because when I do get back into running again, it is going to be a hard slog because my fitness will have dropped significantly, and for a while, my body will be yelling at me going, why are you doing this, Kristen? Why are you doing this? You are a crazy lady for trying to do this running thing because you haven't done this for however long it's been. I also try to take care of myself by going to the gym or going for walks when I can and stretching out, and yeah. So that's pretty much where I'm at with the stitching. And the Monday tomorrow I'm looking forward to, as I've mentioned earlier, I'm looking forward to doing a brain dump and trying to plan out things. And I can do that already before some of the stuff arrives in the mail. And I'm also looking forward to the Great Australian Shindig that is going to happen towards the end of January next year. That is going to be absolutely awesome, and I will try and provide details when I can as I become aware of them, but I definitely recommend that you go and check out Paddock Lane Design's YouTube channel, because Lisa will be able to provide everyone with all the details that we need for how the event's going to happen, and dates, timings, and all the rest that goes with it. So please go and check out Lisa at Paddock Lane Designs for the Great Australian Shindig, and I hope to see you there. And in the meantime, I am looking forward to getting some more stitching done, and I am looking forward to catching up with you in another couple of weeks' time to share with you some projects that I've worked on. Until then, happy stitching. Bye.